You can hear sometimes an interview where the podcast host hasn't watched the movie or like, read the book or whatever, and they're asking like just generic, was it fun to work with these people? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I
I'm
had
going to be
one
honest,
guest.
I haven't read your poetry yet, but after this conversation I will.
Oh, okay, see? There we go.
Welcome to Sleepless, a podcast about the creative process. I'm Robin.
I'm Tom.
And today we have Sammy Younan.
Yeah.
He has a podcast.
Oh, that was a good yes.
Yeah,
that
that was
was
good
good.
energy. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to Sleepless, a podcast about the creative process. I'm Robin.
I'm Tom.
And today we have Sammy Younan.
Yeah.
He is a freelance journalist. He's the host of his podcast, My Summer Lair, focused around pop culture. He also has written a book and poetry called Red Letter Nights. You're very welcome, Sammy. Thank you so
Welcome,
much for
Sammy.
joining us.
This is so cool. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me, man.
Yeah, where do we originally first met?
Stormcrow Manor.
Stormcrow
Remember
Manor.
that nerdery
Yeah.
bar on Jersey?
That's right.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of the Canadian podcast awards events.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's anybody who's never been, it's a really cool bar where you can roll a D&D dice.
Yeah, that's
one of
right.
the 20-sided ones or whatever that one is, right?
Yeah.
And then you can get a shot based on what you roll.
What score you get? Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to have one in Vancouver, but I think COVID got it, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
It was a fun bar. You
Yeah.
get all those like cocktails that have like dry ice coming out of them, the
Oh,
cold
nice.
drinks and everything.
And you can actually play games in there too.
Yeah, it's a
right?
game.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a
Game bar.
too.
Not
Yeah.
enough of those.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So Sammy, how did you kind of get into what you're doing now with your podcast or at least give the listeners maybe a taste of what My Summer Lair is?
Okay, yeah. So I'm like, it's an interview show, right? So like think of like NPR's Fresh Air or CBCQ. But I kind of do it through like a Kevin Smith nerdy lens. We were just kind of talking about Stormcrow Manor, right?
Right.
So it's kind of done through a little bit more of a nerdy lens that way. And then the rest of it is just like filmmakers and musicians and anybody who's doing something kind of cool and creative. So it's like kind of like that. Just if Comic-Con had a baby, an audio baby, basically that's what it is, right? So
And what kind of inspired you to kind of set that up?
a couple of things. One was I was already like doing interviews for the National Post, the newspaper here, right? So I was like in the entertainment section. So I would like interview Russell Peters or somebody like that. And then it was kind of fun. And then a friend of mine, he had a bar on King East near the George Brown campus there. And he said, Sammy, I'm thinking of turning a little corner of the bar into a podcast studio, kind of like what you guys have here.
Right.
And he's like, if I did that, would you like start doing your interviews and bring other podcasters and people here? I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. Now, see, sometimes when somebody comes to you with a pitch, they have like this grand idea. I'm going to turn this and do this. I'm going to like paint this. And then like it never comes true, right? Some people just talk a lot. But a month later, he sends me an email. He's like, you want to come check out the studio? I'm like, oh my gosh, he actually did it? So I went there and I checked it out. And it was like the studio's like all done and he built it. And like I said, it's in the corner of the bar. And then the rest of it, you could still order food and drinks and everything like this. There's a upstairs as well. So Alex said to me, here you go. You said you want to do some interviews and stuff like that. I'm like, what do I do now? Like, It seemed like a good idea, but I didn't like think we were actually going to pull this off. So he goes, I don't know, just bring in a band or something. So I said, oh, that's a good idea. Right? So always tell the boss it's a good idea, right? And then so I went and booked a band, and then we kind of started from there, just kind of bringing in other bands because it was great. We could like play into the bar as well. We would turn off the jukebox and all that, and so
sort of like a live podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was also kind of fun too. One time we had Finger 11, you know those guys, Paralyzer and stuff like that. So we booked them in, and they were going to do like 3 songs, and we broadcasting them into the bar. And I was sitting at the bar itself, and it's kind of just chilling, just making sure the audio was good. And this one girl came to the bar, and she was ordering a bunch of drinks. And she's like, man, these guys sound exactly like Finger 11. So like, turn around, they're right there.
Yep,
that's
who it
them. And she goes, oh! And she ran upstairs. I guess she was hanging out with some friends. And she brought back about 10 or 12 girls. And they all came down to the front window. It was a big window that looked into the bar where you could see all the action in the studio. and she brought back this group of girls, and they're like, woo, right? And so the band looked at me. They're like, we just finished our third song. Like, I'm like, if you want to do an encore, there's a bunch of ladies that are like, woo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, go for it. And so they're like, all right, we'll do a cover. And they did a cover of Tonight Tonight, Smashing Pumpkins song.
Yeah.
Right? After the show was over, I was just talking to the lead singer. One of the girls came up. She goes, oh, that last song, the Smashing Pumpkins cover. That was so beautiful. What inspired you to write that? And you could see the lead singer, he was about to correct the girl or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's one of your best hits. Right? I give him a layout, right? And he just looked at me. He's like, just roll with it. Like, it's a pretty girl that thinks like she's never heard of the Pumpkins.
Yeah,
like, just take it, man. Like, you know what I mean? We won't tell Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah. He doesn't watch the show, right?
Well, if you are.
Okay.
Now he knows.
Yeah.
So how many episodes are you like into now?
So now I've crossed over 300.
Wow.
So I was,
Wow.
yeah. Because iTunes is a bit of like a podcast graveyard, right? People like, and even when I was recording out of Pacific Junction, people get so excited. I want to do a podcast, and like I want to do. I remember this one guy came, and he was like, Sammy, you run the studio, right? I said, yeah. Like, he's like, I want to do a podcast, and I want to do like this cooking show, and I want to talk to these people or whatever. And like, first episode, I'll have like George Clooney. And then the second episode was like Kanye West. And then the third episode, I don't remember who he had. I'm like, hold up. You know George Clooney and like Kanye? And like, I don't remember the third. And he was like, no, but celebrities love podcasts, and they love going on podcasts.
No.
And like he had no social media presence, like nothing. I'm like, that's not how any of this works.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? You know when somebody's so wrong?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't even know where to start with this. Like
Right.
it was just all wrong, right? Like, so I was like, that's not how this works. So like that's what I was saying, like with iTunes being like a podcast graveyard, because people get excited and they do like 1 or 2 episodes and they're like, oh, this is a lot of work.
Right.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
we constantly hear the 20 episode thing?
Yeah, it's like 95% of podcasts that make it past 20 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still like 20 is a good accomplishment. Like,
Right. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that, you have a little bit of momentum at that point.
Yeah.
Did you find that there was a certain turning point in the amount of episodes that you did that suddenly things like viewers and listeners kind of went up?
Yeah, so there's 2 things, right? One is related to like your own style.
Yeah.
Because you got to figure out, like I said, I do stuff through a kind of a Kevin Smith nerdy lens, right? So I'll ask people, like, I had one guy did a Elon Musk Starbase SpaceX documentary.
Wow.
Right, so it was great to talk to him, and we talked about Elon Musk, and we talked about going to Mars and SpaceX, all that stuff. But I also threw in at the end, like, you know, did you grow up reading any science fiction or watching science fiction?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because he had done other interviews where he just did just talk about Elon Musk and SpaceX,
Yeah.
right? Like, but I'm like, and then he was so happy to like talk about like some of the science fiction stuff that his dad took him to, and like,
Right.
That kind of inspired his whole... Yeah.
so it's kind of neat to go down this road. And so that's the thing. You got to find your own little groove as well.
Yeah.
Right. Like every episode you record with a podcast is kind of like a first date. Right. Like it doesn't matter who the guest is. Like you want them to like kind of open up.
Right.
Right.
Feel
Maybe share a
comfortable.
secret or two.
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you a couple of stories.
Yeah.
Do the thing with the hair.
Yeah.
Right.
Spill the tea.
Yeah. Right.
Get a hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. So it takes a little while for that to like figure out your vibe and your style and your approach. And then the other one on the flip side for the listeners too, like you said, like most podcasts don't get past 20 episodes. So they just want the listeners take about closer to about 100 episodes or so, because they want to make sure that you're going to stick around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Because everyone has that kind of frustration with Netflix now, because they'll be like, this first season comes out of the show and it's amazing. And then this dude is trapped somewhere and then there's a big cliffhanger and they're like, yo, we canceled the show.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, but what happened to the dude trapped in the thing? And I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
I also heard that's a big, the reason why they do that is like a tax rebate. So like they can be like, oh, well, we had a lot of viewers for this thing and it was marked to be this amount of revenue and we put such in and so we cancelled it. So then they can write that off in their tax line.
oh, it's like, yeah. But see, like Prime, this is a tangent, but like also Amazon too has a whole like formula, right? Based on like who's watching the show, but how much they spend on Amazon Prime as well.
No way.
So yeah, so they have this weird calculation. So if a lot of the cool people, like the good demographic, are watching this, and it's the same demographic that spends a lot on Prime, they'll keep the show going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty clever though, because then it's like you're incentivized to keep Amazon Prime, which means you get free shipping, which means you're wow. That's actually a clever formula.
Yeah. There's a lot of like sleight of hand with the.
That is, and I'm sure Netflix also. I saw somebody saying like the funny thing about like these streaming shows is there's no view counts, so you don't really know what's popular, what's not. They
Right.
just tell you this is the top 10 in Canada,
Right.
But there's nothing to say that actually is. It's just what they want you to watch.
Yeah.
Which is another. I was like, oh, that's so true. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's very
like
true.
those little you. Like with DVDs and stuff, you could look up what a DVD sale is. You know what the sales are, but with streaming, that's a close guarded thing. So nobody really knows anymore what the.
And it's also the view count too, because like sometimes I'll like a new show will come out and I'll only watch like maybe 20 minutes of the first episode. I'm like, I don't like this. I'm out here.
Yeah.
And I grab my jacket and I leave the party.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But like, you know what I mean? Like how much are you like sticking around to the whole episode? How much are you sticking around to the whole season? Like, right?
Yeah. So you were before we kind of started. You were talking about TIFF, and I suppose then is movies like a big part of your kind of niche and genre, or is that just something off the cuff that you were talking
No,
about?
I like movies. Yeah, I do definitely talk to like filmmakers, both the feature side and in like documentaries. And it's what's super interesting too. Like I said, I've done over 300 episodes, and not just me, but I've also talked to other people who record podcasts and do interviews as well. One of the constant refrains we get at the end of an episode is the guest will say, "Thank you so much for watching the movie," because they'll get booked on a show and people will not like watch the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a 2-hour movie. How are you not doing the work?
Right,
Like,
right,
you know
right.
what I mean? Like, I can understand if it's maybe like a book or something. Like, you don't want to like, but I'm like,
Oh, it's hard to find maybe like
Yeah.
it's maybe a really small movie that haven't been watched yet.
yeah, but like they'll send you a screen or two so you can like watch it at home. Like, it's one of the weird things of like with like some of the pop culture podcasts, and you hear it often. Thank you for like listening to the album. Thank you for like watching the movie. And I'm like, that was the bare minimum
That's
of
the
work I'm
minimum,
supposed to do.
yeah.
Like,
I think that's almost why Sean Evans from Hot Ones does so well, because like he does, or at least his team do, like a serious amount of research and like ask questions. They're like, oh wow, you've actually taken the time to find information out about me that's important.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, that's why like podcasting is like a first date, because it's
Yeah.
like you want to be interested in that person that you're talking
Yeah.
to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can, even too, as a listener, like you're talking about like listenership as well. Like, you can hear sometimes an interview where the podcast host hasn't watched the movie or like read the book or whatever, and they're asking like just generic, was it fun to work with these people? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's
I'm
I
gonna
had
be
one
honest,
guest.
I haven't read your poetry yet, but after this conversation I will.
Oh, okay. See? There you go. At least you're being honest too, though, right? But honesty is a good part of the first date too, right?
That's true. That's true.
I had one guest. He wrote a graphic novel, and he was on tour. He was doing like his book tour for it, and he was in Texas. There you go. He was in Texas, and then he got booked on this really popular radio show, live radio and everything. And so he went, and the host, the first question that he asked him was, so a lot of cartoons have celebrity voices. Are there any celebrity voices on your cartoon? And he's like, it's a graphic novel. Like, it's not a
No
cartoon.
voices, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And then like the book was actually there on the table. He's like, see? It's a book.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
he picked it up, and then the radio host was flipping through it, and he's like, wait, you drew all this? He's like, yes. I wrote it and I drew it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a terrible interview. Like,
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, the host doesn't even know the format, let
Right.
alone, like, he clearly didn't read it, right? So, but his show had big ratings or whatever, so the PR people booked him, and, so it's supposed to work like that, but sometimes it's like...
Yeah, well, I suppose it comes back down to the hustle to create content and like more episodes that can sometimes get in the way of like doing the research, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like that's something I suppose we struggle with at times because I'm based in Vancouver. So when we come over here, we're like have to go through like a lot of podcast episodes so that we can like do it together. And at times that comes at a cost of probably
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But I think that's that I'm always interested in not only the community that is in Sleepless, but also learning from our things and how we can improve it. So that's definitely something I'm going to take on board for next time.
Why did you guys start Sleepless, or how did Sleepless get started?
Yeah, well, I guess, Robin and I are both DJs. We have backgrounds in DJing. We've known each other since we were like 12,
Yep.
13.
Oh, wow.
And then, I originally got into DJing when I was like 16, and then Robin and I both went to the same university as well. And then we started gigging, and we even were in like a DJing society together.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the years, like, we both moved to Canada, and something we regularly talk about, like, are you practicing still? Like, are you still practicing? And those would lead to conversations like, oh, it's just too expensive to get the equipment ourselves, or, wish there was a space we could go to for an hour, just rock up and be all set up and you would just practice. And then we were like, oh, why couldn't you do something for podcasting? Why couldn't you do something for photography? And what if it was like 24/7 as well?
Oh, yeah.
So then it kind of just all was born
Mm-hmm.
out of those conversations. So
And then learning as
Yeah.
well, like the podcast studio that we first had to what the podcast studio is now.
yeah,
Like,
did you ever see the first podcast?
No.
studio? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So luckily,
Was it in like a back alley or something?
it was in the room back.
It was in the room.
very
just there, it's
small.
very small. Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily we, met Mariana and Michael from the Sonar Network.
Those
And,
are dope people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. And
Shout out.
shout out Michael there, is behind the desk. But they were able to give us like advice, being like, look, if you really want to do this properly, these are the things that people are looking for. And ultimately, it's so, as you mentioned, like your friend in the bar was like, I'm going to create a space for people to do podcasts. And there's probably also challenges around that being in a bar because of noise and stuff like that. But we also felt like there's so many, as you've just touched on, there's so many other factors of starting a podcast. Like this, like the cost of setting it up shouldn't be one.
Right,
If you can do something easily at a high quality,
Yeah.
that just means people can start, and
Yeah.
do the thing that they've wanted to do.
Yeah.
And see if it works.
And environment too is one of the factors that people never really talk about in terms of starting a podcast, right? Like you can go online and like you buy this Shure mic and you can buy this stuff and
Right.
use GarageBand to edit or Audacity to edit, and you can do all that stuff. But I found like even just when we were recording out of the bar, which unfortunately closed, it was a COVID casualty. But like when we were recording at the bar, like people would be excited to come because like they would be able to get like adult beverages. Right? Like
Yeah.
I interviewed Sam Roberts and he's done a lot of like CBC shows and things like that, which are great, but like they just give you water.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And I was like, when he came to the bar, I'm like, do you want a beer? Do you want like, he's like, I can have a beer. I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just like gonna turn on the
Whatever
mics
you
and just
want.
have a good time. I'm like, yeah. Like it's a conversation.
And so have you found like like those early conversations in that bar were much easier because you were having a few drinks, and then did you have to suddenly like, because I don't know, do you still drink in your podcast? I presume you're not
I don't
drinking.
know
Yeah.
because sometimes they're just over Zoom too.
Yeah.
So like if you want to drink, like I don't know what's in your mug when I'm talking to the guests.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean like there was like I had two guests. They were in a horror movie, and they're like, if you want adult beverages and like, can we get some wine? I'm like, sure. So
Yeah.
I'm like, there was a waitress came by, and I'm like, tell her whatever you want. And anyways, they got into the wine a little bit too much for the interview. And they were telling me like first AD punched some guy in the set. I'm like, and
That's juicy
that's
though.
juicy.
yeah, right.
That's spilling the tea,
And
for
somebody
sure.
was doing like coke on the set. I'm like, oh, all this like. So I was like, I kept recording. I didn't like stop anything. But then I was like, I went to the PR lady. I'm like, the two ladies got into the wine and like first AD punched somebody and this dude was doing coke or whatever. And the PR said, well, were they aware that you were recording? I'm like, yeah, we were clearly like, I told them we were recording. And she goes, all right, run it. I'm like, all right, run it. So
Wow.
yeah. So you also get the opposite too, where like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
The boundaries are pushed too far.
yeah. So that's also that's why I learned like from environment can have an impact as well.
Right.
And sometimes too, people were like, you sometimes record some podcasts like in the evening, like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. So people might have had a long day or
Yeah.
a fight with the wife or whatever. You know what I mean? But when they came in and they saw the bar and everybody's kind of just sitting there and they're watching like a Leafs game or something,
Yeah,
that
decompress.
energy picks them up.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's something that we wanted to do with Sleepless as well. Is like, we were talking to some podcast hosts and they had it in like the basement of an old strip club, and like getting to the podcast studio felt like you were getting over a murder scene, which is like
With lots of glitter though.
I'm sure, I'm
You're
sure it
sparkly.
was hard to like warm up the guests because they're like, what am I walking into?
Yeah.
So, with studios kind of like that, like at times for certain like price points as well, like they can be kind of slightly unwelcoming at the beginning. So that was one thing we really wanted to focus on. Like, how do you make it like welcoming, bright, clean, so that people feel like, oh, okay, this is just like a normal space. So that's,
yeah.
so
And especially too, sometimes like if you have like female guests too, they don't always feel safe going to like,
100%.
you know what I mean? But I'm like, this is a public bar. There's tons of people there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so.
Yeah, and so, you know, you're on 300 episodes, and I think you touched on a couple of good themes around, you know, one, keep going, because you'll get your listeners and are expecting you to keep going. Two, do your research. What are some other kind of areas for somebody who wants to like get into podcasting that they should kind of...
Yeah, so it's a weird thing to say, but like follow whatever you're curious about. Like don't necessarily care about the audience. I know that sounds kind of like mean to the audience, but like I mentioned Sam Roberts, right? When we had the beer. And so we were just sitting there and recording. And so he seemed to have a lot of like nerd references in his music. Like there was Terraformers and all these kind of things. And like, so we were talking about the new album at one point, and then I had to ask him, I'm like, dude, there's a lot of nerd references, and I started listing them on the album. And I said to him, are you a nerd? Like, that was my question, right? And like I said, he's done other interviews with like Strombolopoulos and like CBC and all these people. And these are not people who are nerds, right? So nobody would have picked up on this. And then he looked at me and goes, Sammy, I'm a huge nerd. I was like, yeah. And so we started talking about Lord of the Rings and X-Men comics and stuff that he was reading when he was growing up in Montreal. And like, so, and we got to go down this road, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I mean by having like a kind of a Kevin Smith nerdy lens, right? Like I would have picked up on this because I'm a nerd too.
So actually, speaking of Lord of the Rings and actually Amazon Prime, what do you think of the new Lord of the Rings series?
They're fine, but the problem is it's a lot like the Marvel TV shows where like it doesn't really move the story forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah, it's kind of like it doesn't move fast enough, and like when it does move fast enough, it's at the end, and you're like, oh, was that all worth it?
Right.
Yeah, I know. So like, it's fine, and like even like I said with some of the Marvel shows, you watch it and you're like, well, what did we get out of this? Like,
where's the Easter egg? Where's the expansion
grand scheme of things?
Yeah.
But another thing, it was like the most expensive series ever made at one point. But then somebody was doing a comparison to what they did with like the old Lord of the Rings in terms of like the costume and dress, and they were like, the older one with less budget looks way better than the one with the...
That's the thing, too.
Where's the money going? And Tom was talking about this. He watched the Twilight.
Yeah, my wife and I, for Halloween, did a Twilight marathon.
Okay.
And it was the exact same thing.
Robert Pattinson and the glowing vampire?
Yeah, it was like, I feel like for some reason, the movies definitely get worse, even though the budgets are definitely going up. And like the common example is the CGI baby in the last movie, I think.
Yeah.
So bad.
Or same with like Lord of the Rings. You have a huge amount of money and like yet the quality goes down. It's just super weird. I don't know what that's about.
Weird.
They must not be like spending a lot of time on the writing too, right? Like they just like by the time, like you said, that was 3 movies, the Twilights, or how many movies was that now?
I think they're like 5.
5?
Yeah, they broke the last one down into 2 parts.
That's a lot of commitment.
Yeah.
No, I can't do
A lot
that.
of
I
commitment.
couldn't do that.
Yeah.
What? So you went to TIFF. You were saying off camera you really enjoyed this animated Japanese.
Oh, Junk World, yeah, stop motion animation from Japan, which was kind of unusual, right? Like Japan obviously has a lot of great live action and a lot of great anime and stuff like that. So I was like, this dude, he wanted to try just doing like stop motion. He thought it would be a lot more easier. I was like, I don't know how he thought that was gonna be easier, but it took him 7 years. It was just him and another guy, just like doing the slow.
So Japanese.
Yeah, right. So
they always take everything to an art form.
Yeah. And then it's just the whole movie is like very Japanese. There's like S&M kind of dressed up Nazis and like time travel and like, if you're not used to that culture, it's like, whoa, there's a lot going on here, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Was that the only movie you saw at TIFF or this movie?
No, I saw a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying to think of like, I saw Frankenstein, which is now.
was good?
Oh,
yeah.
It was good.
I found that the last third kind of slows down, like the momentum to like build a creature. Spoiler alert, he builds a creature, right? Like, the book's been around since.
Jacob Elordi's getting very big as well.
Yeah. So I found that kind of like the whole science for him trying to build a creature, and he's got a great lab. Because with Frankenstein, you have to have a great lab, right? Like you want an evil, maniacal lab.
And so the whole movie is about him building towards that, basically, right?
Yeah, well, the first third or so is like, him building the creature, and then once the creature's kind of out, I found that the movie kind of slows down a little bit. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I found that. What movie was I watching now? I can't remember. I'm gonna have to go back. But yeah, like that. It started out really well. Straight away, I put a recommendation in for people to watch it. And then when I finished it, I was like, actually, scratch that.
But I mean, Frankenstein, like Del Toro, obviously the director, he's kind of like an honorary Torontonian. People love him, like, and he does like really cool gothic-y type movies,
He does,
right?
yeah.
Like
he's kind of like. I think he's. Maybe it's a hot take. I don't know, but I feel like he's moved like better than Tim Burton, because Tim Burton had that same.
That's a good way to put it.
gothically-
Yeah.
He's like moved that forward into a better aesthetic. I feel like Tim Burton got very stuck with his style.
Yeah.
And it never really evolved too much.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Tim Burton is definitely a little bit more mainstreamy too now. Like Big Eyes and things like that. Some of the more recent stuff, like you can kind of watch, like you can watch it anywhere. But even like something like Edward Scissorhands is weird.
Yeah, or his old Batman. Remember he did
Yeah.
the Batman movies? Those were like kind of like campy and like
Right. Oh,
yeah,
jeez, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
yeah. Those
Tim
old
Burton's
Batman
one.
movies are very good.
Yeah.
You know what's wild? So when he got hired to do Edward Scissorhands, and so the studio wanted to get a big name for who would be the scissor dude, they suggested Tom Cruise.
That would have changed the whole movie.
That doesn't
Yeah.
work at all.
No.
Like,
Well, I wonder.
like he's running with the knives, and then what if he trips? Like,
Yeah.
like
I do think like you think about Tom Cruise, and maybe it's the Scientology part, but like he used to play when he was much younger just such a variety of roles. Now he's just Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Which is
he
sad to
just like
see.
angles and dangles from stuff.
That's
Yeah.
it. Like, okay, he does crazy stunts now. Like, fair play to him. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel like his older stuff, he was just way more
diverse.
varied, and maybe I don't know. It would have changed the. No, it's kind of like that Rick and Morty scene where you have the TV of different realities.
Yeah.
It's like I'd give it a go. And
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Because like I mean, like there's all these like the Spielberg initially wanted Tom Selleck for Indiana Jones, which isn't that
Yeah.
off, right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I
Like
could see it.
I would like to go to a universe and watch that movie,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
see that. That's not too
Oh,
off.
I wonder though. Surely with the rise of AI, they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, they can.
I don't know though. Will they get like the real acting out of it? But you could probably get like a grasp of
something.
Yeah.
Presumably that's what they're going to start doing with casting. To be like, oh, we want to make this film, put this actor in this scene, and you
Right.
can sit there
Yeah.
and go,
See
oh,
what it would
are they
be
going to
like.
fit?
Well, especially people who have died. Like you can put like Marilyn Monroe in an Arnold movie now,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And then like
Well, I know in the Star Wars, they brought back that General Harkin or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, who was they basically just CGI'd his face onto like a character, and
Yeah.
there was kind of like
Same with Carrie Fisher for a bit as well.
Yeah,
didn't
Carrie
it?
Fisher. They
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
It is. It's just an interesting way. How I wonder how movies are gonna like go. when
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. I mean, that's partly why there was a recent Hollywood strike too, because they're worried about AI and all that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
also find too the general audience, they think like CGI is AI. They can't tell the difference.
Yeah, they can't s-
Right, like those are two different things. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think and the AI thing, and I think the thing that was around contracting, because they were trying to be like, oh, if you come onto this movie, we can use your likeness then, and people were like, no, that's not going to work. But I did see a thing, and I don't know what your take on this is. Somebody pulled out like the CGI from like the 90s and then compared it to the CGI now, and they were saying the CGI in the 90s is actually way better.
it always depends on a couple of factors. One is obviously time, because sometimes like you look at some of the stuff for The Matrix, for example.
Phenomenal.
Right?
Lord
It's
of the
still-
Rings?
Yeah, it still holds up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it just depends if you have the time and the budget to do it. Like, but when you mentioned Mission Impossible, if you go back to the first one or two movies, there's some CGI in that's terrible.
Yeah. Well, Terminator though isn't bad for its time. Like
Yeah.
how they at that what was that, like early 90s, and they have that guy coming through the bars.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah, yeah.
ridiculously good.
So when I saw that opening weekend, you're talking about Terminator 2, with
Yeah.
the liquid. I saw that opening weekend, and the whole audience went, "Whoa!" Like the first
Yeah.
time, because we hadn't really seen a
Seen
lot
that
of
before,
CGI or any
wow.
CGI really that like something that specific, you know. So it was mind blowing. But now it's weird because like I find that when I watch a movie now and they just have like practical effects, it looks weird. The practical looks weird.
The real life almost looks worse than the
CGI, because we got so used to the CGI.
It goes back to the point like where people are talking about like AI and virtual reality will like that, like even with Instagram, like there's a look and feel to like what online, and it's almost better than what real life is, and that's like a fear that people are starting to have.
Yeah, and I mean also too, like when you're talking about like Instagram, people also do like you can manipulate stuff now. So I can like, you know, if Tom wasn't here, like we could add Tom in the photo and like you know what I mean, or take Tom out if we don't like him, like you know what I mean, like. So you can do a lot of different things now. So I think reality is gonna get weird.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever you consider reality.
Well, that I don't know if you.
And then knowing the difference between the two as well will probably get harder as well. No.
Well, yeah, I think Terence McKenna has a quote like, "Before species goes to the stars, things just get so weird."
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. And the thing is, it's a weird thing too because like they had the Tupac hologram. Do you remember that? I think it was at Coachella or something. Coachella, right?
Yeah.
And it's I thought it looked terrible and I thought it was a terrible idea. But I also appreciate like because you want to keep Tupac alive. Like there's people that are gone and you want to somehow keep them alive. And I don't know how you keep them alive in the culture without resorting to a hologram. You know, how do you get the younger kids into Tupac or anybody else who's dead?
But I think that's going to happen anyway. I think his music speaks to itself. And I think by doing the hologram, that's more just because what is it? The finances today, because of Spotify, because of streaming, like before artists would rely on like CD sales and stuff from like their music, and now streaming is kind of changed it, so they have to tour. So the main money driver is touring.
Yeah.
So that's just basically like somebody trying to make money out of Tupac now that he's gone. But I think the music, like I never knew Ray Charles when he was alive or was aware of him, but I still listen to Ray Charles music because it's like echoes through time because it's that good.
Yeah. I mean, part of why I do the podcast, just to circle back to what we were talking about before, was like, I want people to discover stuff. This is a cool movie. This is a cool book. This is cool music, whatever. Because there's that thing too, where as you get older, and maybe about your 30s or so, you kind of get stuck with whatever music you grew up with. Yeah. And you don't go through you don't search through the stacks anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? No. So it's like, that's it, Coldplay for life. I'm like, really? Like, you have so many options and there's so many people, like, and you can go back to Ray Charles, you can go forward, there's new people making new stuff, like, Coldplay for life. I'm like, oh man, like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It kind of, like, you kind of got to force your ear as well. Like, I know that, like, I grew up much younger days like listening to a lot of techno, and like techno is kind of evolving now, and you know there's times when I'm like I can't listen to this anymore, but you kind of have to push through that and find what you are enjoying out of it now in order to keep your taste evolving, because if you get stuck, you don't want to be like that person listening to the radio and be like, turn that noise down.
Yeah. Or like Tiesto for life, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I know, switch it up.
Yeah. I always find my music listening tastes go through waves. Like I might go through a phase of listening to a lot of like pop punk metalcore stuff and then come back to the electronic stuff, and then a couple of years later come back to, you know, and then you discover new things when you come back to those waves and stuff. So
but it's always just being being restless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
Sleepless.
Sleepless. There you go. Yeah, also, that's a good plug. Yeah. You're good at this. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, just kind of like, again, like that's how we use the analogy of like digging through the stacks. Like, try and find something like.
Find the diamond in the rough. Find that song that's not like the top 10, you know? Find it like 300 listens in and like support that artist.
Yeah, there's got to be something cool from Brazil. There's got to be something cool,
sure.
right? Like,
and anytime I go to a new country, I will try and like find, like I don't know, like I'll look for playlists on Spotify from that country, or buy somebody from that country, or I'll go on YouTube and try find like the local DJing channel there to try and find like what is the vibe of that like country or city that people are listening to, because you find some amazing music.
Oh man, you're classy. I usually just like download my episodes randomly. And, like, I was just in Berlin and I just like download a couple of episodes, and so now like Spotify and stuff, like, oh, this guy's popular in Germany. I'm like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Put that in your algorithm.
I suppose that'd be a good argument then for the streaming platforms then. That gives you exposure to artists you might not have
Yeah, well, I mean,
heard before.
yeah, SoundCloud's very good at that for finding it. YouTube, I think, because there's so many now like DJ radio stations, like community-led ones that you can go on and like, what is it? Because the local DJs are the ones that are playing to the crowds that people are listening to, or they want to be listened to. So you're getting what, you know, the locals want to listen to in a sense. So you find music that, you know, is unusual to your you know, ear and stuff. So yeah, no, it's really cool. I've been really getting into there's like Vietnamese house jazz.
Ooh.
Yeah, very niche.
Yeah, very niche.
We'll have to clip something.
Yeah. I put some in, but it's good.
Yeah.
And I'm finding now as well, there's like jazz, but in dance music is making a resurgence, which is very interesting as well.
That's cool.
That's the cool thing about pop culture. It's all connected.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know we have these, like, you think jazz is just a genre, right? And you can listen to Miles or somebody's Thelonious Monk or something, and it's nice. And then you go home and you take a nap. But, like, it's like, it evolves, like you said, like, and it connects all these different things.
Yeah. And it's so much representative of the time that certain genres do better than others. You know, I feel like if you go back to that 90s where it was like pop, not punk, you know, you had like Sum 41, you had Blink-182, Linkin Park,
and Green Day.
And it was like, I suppose that was like a response to that time as well, where people wanted to like break the edge of like what was normal or your expectations and stuff. And like now you are getting like more hard techno, you're getting maybe some harder rap, well, maybe not, like even maybe 2 years ago, but now things maybe mellow. Like there's such a response to the changes. Like I think it was coming out of COVID, you know, people were stuck. And so then when they got out of COVID, a higher BPM came and to try and like get people moving again.
You can see that too with like political movements, right? Like Trump's election is going to mean there's going to be a lot more horror movies now.
Oh,
right.
Yeah,
because people like doing more like darkness or like conquering darkness or surviving to sunlight or whatever.
That's a good one. Because there is a lot of horror movies out.
There is because
like
Trump got elected. So, like, if you like the slashers and like things that go bump in the night, you're like, vote for Trump. Right?
I watched Weapons recently.
Yeah,
that was a very good movie.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that one.
Okay, no spoilers.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're doing Twilight over here. That doesn't count. You know, it's vampires and like.
We had a lot of time taking
that's Tom's Max horror.
There's a couple jump scares.
Hold my hand out. But no, it is so true that and like One Battle After Another. Did you see? Have you seen that?
Yeah. The Leo one. Yeah. That car chase scene. It
almost made me nauseous.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
But again, that's a response to that like undertone of like oppression that people have, and they want to kind of get out of that as well. So it is, pop culture, as much as people almost like brush it off as like, oh, it's just chasing fads, but actually you're chasing moments of history. Yeah,
and it's also a shorthand too. It's how we communicate, right? Like a Star Trek person, a Trekkie, will find another one in like at the office or something. He starts a new job, and then he finds out another guy like, you like Spock too? Like you can create a shorthand, right?
Yeah.
You can connect and you make friendships. Like they're connective tissue. Right?
Yeah.
That's how because everyone's like, you know, there's a bunch of people that are excited about Stranger Things, this new season coming up, right? And they're like, yo. And there's other people like, I've never watched an episode, right? But that's the way pop culture is. Like, you can find your tribe and your people or your Twilight friends.
No.
Team
Jacob over here.
Yeah. Is that what you were?
Yeah, I'm Team Jacob.
Which one was Jacob? He was the
werewolf?
werewolf?
The werewolf guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You could have watched Underworld too. Like that's also
true.
vampires
that's
and
good.
like
that scene. One of my favorite movies I've ever seen is that Blade scene at the beginning in the nightclub when they're all dancing.
Oh yeah, and then there's fresh meat comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you later, sucker.
No, he's like incredibly hard to work with. The guy that's in Blade because they're trying to.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
That's what they've been trying to get him back into the Marvel world, haven't they?
Yeah. But Blade apparently too. Marvel's been trying to like quote unquote crack it, and they've been struggling, and they've hired writers and fired writers, and like you see all these kind of reports. How true any of this is, I don't know. But like, I'm like, it's just a guy with like vampire teeth and a sword. I don't understand how this is a difficult like.
What do you think? Because what was Jared Leto's one, Morbius?
Oh my gosh,
That
that
didn't
one,
do
that was
great.
just embarrassing for everybody
Yeah.
involved. Like even like the lighting guy, like
Right.
it was just shame for everyone.
What do you
like-
think that's playing a part in that then?
Yeah, but I mean, like that's the thing. Sometimes when they get upset with like AI is gonna take over writing for movies, I'm like,
Right.
well, look what humans do. Like
Yeah,
they make stuff
they
like
still do
that.
stuff, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I feel like Marvel definitely hit a peak, and I feel like they're struggling to get that same momentum that they
that's
once
true.
had. But I think who's done a really good job with a franchise is the guy that wrote the recent Star Wars seasons. Like, I think he did The Mandalorian.
oh, John Favreau.
Yeah, John Favreau has done
The
phenomenal.
Mandalorian's fun. Everybody loves Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He's done a phenomenal job at building, like, because even the movies where I feel like where Star Wars is now hopefully kind of getting its momentum again is actually through the series like Endor, like Mandalorian,
Yeah.
and hopefully that'll kind of spin off into a better version of what they were doing, because they run the risk of turning into a Marvel as well.
Yeah, and you also sometimes overly rely on nostalgia too.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't Star Wars great? I'm like, yeah, we get it. Like,
Yeah.
But like that's what I was saying with the Marvel shows. Like, you got to move the story forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, give me new like Jedi's or like thin them out or something. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
put some stakes in the line here. Put something on the line a bit more, or like push the boundaries. Yeah. Well, sometimes they do that. Like I think they did, and they get backlash, right? Because people want it to be the way they remember it as well.
Yeah.
People take a huge amount of ownership over what they remember something being.
But that's always the tension with all nerd properties, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be a group of people that's not Star Wars.
Right.
There's always going to be that group. But the problem is you don't get to Star Wars unless that group of people adopt it and like promote it and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's always the weird tension. Like, you gotta like dance with the one that you came to the party with. Like, you
Yeah,
know, you
'cause
can't start flirting with other girls if you just brought your own date.
Yeah. Like I think Disney came out and basically said we're not going to do as many Marvel movies because there's just like we're losing the value in the name by just pumping out new stuff all the time. But to your point, probably sloppy writing, and then also they're not pushing the storyline enough. They're just making a movie to like hopefully get
Inch
enough.
it along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't forget about me. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
And then he also mentioned they're going to make more sequels, and that's why you see more of like this, like making the animated movies like live actiony, which is like they're just trying to milk out the nostalgia again.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just I think people got burnt out as well. Like,
Yeah.
it was a lot. Like, I think we're closing in on like almost 40 Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
Plus all the TV shows.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's just like you only had to do like 5 Twilight movies,
I
right?
know.
But like trying to
Imagine if you
like
do 40. Yeah.
yeah,
that's crazy,
like,
Yeah,
It was great. I remember the hype. I remember going to a couple of like those like midnight screenings when some
Yeah.
of those like Avengers movies were coming out and stuff. Like the hype was like, yeah, I feel like does it still have the same hype?
There are diehard Marvel supporters,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think people will support Marvel, but I don't think in terms of a massive population, it's as big as it was.
Yeah.
and that's the key too. Like the reason why Marvel succeeded was because they managed to get like the civilians, right? It wasn't just the nerds. The nerds are not enough to like for those budgets for those movies,
Right.
right? For simple economics.
You need to get the masses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need to get somebody's like grandma or somebody's like I don't know what a superhero is.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
right. Like
So actually, one thing, because I've seen this argument before, that nerd can be used as like a derogatory thing instead of like a thing, and I've just heard what for you defines a nerd. Because you were talking about nerd culture, like what is it that like for you defines a nerd?
it's having the background before you speak, right? So like so Action Comics #1, right? Birth of Superman, and like that's like 1930s, late 1930s, right? And so obviously now, up till now, there's over 1,000 issues of Action Comics. It's not that you have to read all 1,000. I'm not asking people to do that, right? But you have to read enough of it, like a chunk of it, whatever that chunk is, whatever that magic number is, so that now you can speak about Superman, right? The problem with some of the Marvel movies, for example, is like people will watch like 1 or 2 Marvel movies and they think they're an expert on like Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this character's been around since like World War II. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
been around like, so it's like there's decades of storytelling that you should like go revisit and like talk about in different incarnations and things like that. So it's just having done the homework That's
Yeah.
really all like a nerd is. Just somebody who did like the pop culture homework.
Okay, so did you're a nerd about a topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're knowledgeable enough because too, like especially with social media now, the barriers have been lowered, so anyone can say anything dumb about anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Well, China just brought in a new law that you can get fined as a creator $5,000 if you speak on a subject you have no proof to be an expert in. So
Yeah.
stuff around medicine, law, history, whatever. Like if you can't prove that you have like a history in it,
And how are they policing that through AI or something?
I presume like they have massive censorship like
Right,
police,
right.
so I presume they're going to do it through that. But I think what the intention is, as you correctly pointed out, that anyone can say anything, and if you have enough followers, you could say anything.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people go, yeah, that's verbatim true.
Yeah.
and it is very hard nowadays. We go back to the point; it's hard to discern what's real or not.
And like it's also just because once you've done the homework, then you have some credibility. You can talk
Yeah.
about this thing in certain different perspectives, like with some nuance. That's the other thing too that's kind of missing, like with the nuance, right? Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think about like Frankenstein. It's on Netflix. If you want to watch it, just hit play.
Go watch it,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once you finish all your Twilights, but like check it out. Like you know what I mean? And then you decide for yourself. But like that's the thing. Like you have to just do the work. You have to be willing to do the work and put the time in, right? Like you were saying, like going to different corners of Spotify or YouTube DJs or whatever it is. Like you gotta like get the flashlight and go into the cave.
Yeah. Well, people always say like, "Hey, Robin, how do you find your music?" And I'm like, I think my hours of listening to Spotify is like 150,000 hours
Wow.
because
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah, it's a
I'll
good
listen.
one.
I'll listen to hours and hours of music.
Yeah.
Music, yeah.
Just if you like again, and I still echo it. Like music has such a power to like change your mood,
Yeah.
change how you
100%.
think, change how you feel.
Yeah.
So
There's
you
mood
know,
playlists too on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but also just related to being a nerd too, it's just having a defined taste.
Yeah.
Right. So, like you can. I think we should be bringing it back, but I think it's good to be a snob. Right? Like look down at the
no,
Twilight
yeah.
movies, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's good to be a snob because then it's like you have a clear and defined taste.
Yeah.
You're right. And that's really, especially if you go into podcasting or DJing or whatever, your taste is what's going to like open up the doors and the roads that you go down in. Right. And so if the audience is going to listen to you, it's based on your taste.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? Fashion you can buy, style is given.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we move into kind of final section where we bring out the hot take wheel.
All right.
So we basically have some hot take questions.
Go
You'll
ahead.
spin the wheel, and then I'll read it because my handwriting is terrible. So
Yeah.
give it a good spin. It is quite tight.
All right.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
What we got
Do I get to
today?
buy a vowel now or something? Or?
Yeah. Oh.
Hope it's not like on anything on Twilight.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I'd be. an
Yeah, you would
expert on
kill
that,
it.
so-
Like,
Are we in an age of too much content?
I would say we're in an age of too much crappy content.
Okay.
I think there is some really good stuff in there, but you have to, again, like we were
Find
talking
it.
about before, you have to find it.
Yeah.
I think because anybody can like make anything, like on YouTube channels, like podcasts, like there's a lot of crappiness out there,
Yeah,
right? And this is what I was saying too with having taste and being a snob.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you know
How
what
do
to
you
look for.
solve? How do
Yeah.
you think we would solve for that though? Because like it's coming. Like look at Sora. You have AI slap everywhere
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Well, so I think actually the direction we're headed in is pretty cool because right now there's robots coming for the home that
Yeah.
will like help you like load the dishwasher and like do
Right.
your bed and whatever. All those hours that we dedicated to like cleaning the house and doing that stuff, or not even doing that stuff technically, some of us, that's gonna be gone. So it's going to allow us to have more entertainment time, right? Self-driving cars is gonna create more entertainment time. So, and I think that's where, like, if you develop and work on your taste, you're going to try and find the good stuff, and then you just need more curators to share it.
Okay, so so there's almost going to be that's actually a really good point. There's almost going to be like a professional curating content for people.
And that's where, like, if you have a podcast or, like, if you have, like, again, a very specific taste and you can present that taste and, like, find the gems right?
Yeah,
That
it's
for
almost like
people-
a matchmaker for like
Well,
movies.
algorithms do that,
like
but,
Tinder.
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Yeah.
But algorithm,
Swipe
yeah.
right for this
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
But this is like one of the things with Sleepless, right? Like our view is like if
Yeah.
you can make a multidisciplinary studio that's of high quality, people can they're going to have more time to do this, right?
Right, yeah.
And people are going to have more time to consume it. So there's with the arrival of the printing press, there was people who used to handwrite everything now had more time. And yes, there was unemployment, but we found as humans to fill that time.
Right.
And as you pointed out correctly, entertainment is going to be a huge chunk of that because you're not going to be driving your car. You're not going to be folding your laundry.
You're right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and that's the thing. You got to now be willing to spend the hours, like you said, on Spotify or whatever, find the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where, those are the people that will survive and thrive because it's like, yo, this is good. This is a good episode. This is a good documentary. This is a good tune, whatever it is. So, and then just like I said, the ones who are able to convey it and share it, those are the ones that are gonna bless the culture.
The cream rises to the top. Is that right?
But there's still going to be, the short to medium term there's going to be a lot of slop.
There will be a slop, but there's always been slop, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Twilight's aside, there's always been slop.
But I think now though,
there'll be more.
there's going to be even
More, yeah.
so much more.
Yeah.
It's going to be, that is the biggest thing I kind of worry about as well, really.
But then quality will stand the
Yeah.
test of time, though.
For sure. And people always watch movies like The Godfather or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because
it's true.
Yeah.
and you can tell the difference 5 minutes into the movie. You're like, this should not be on Tubi. This is a good movie, right?
Yeah.
You can tell there's craft to it.
You're right.
Yeah, that's true. And I suppose it goes back to my point, Ray Charles echoes through the ages.
Craft.
So yeah, it's craft. And I mean, he was blind and able to play the piano, which is also incredible.
Yeah.
This is fun. Can we do another hot take?
Yeah, okay, let's do one more.
All right.
Okay.
All right. What do we got?
What's something you've learned from failure?
What's something I've learned from failure? The hardest part with failure is the getting back up.
Yeah.
So you want to make that a shorter time, right? Because you can technically stay down for a long time, right? And you have a pity party and you you feel sad. But in when you watch old school boxers like Muhammad Ali and stuff like that, when they get knocked down, they get back up quickly. Even Rocky, who's not real, but he gets back up quickly, right? And it's the ability to get back up quickly. It's not just getting back up, but getting back up quickly. That's the trick, I think. And the people that are the most resilient, you know what I mean? I've done a lot of interviews, over 300 interviews, right? And sometimes there's parts of their stories where they're they have a setback or somebody dies or something happens, but they succeed because they get back up quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
And take your learnings and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 100%.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it can be hard, right? I think, as we touched on, why podcasts probably don't make it is that life gets in the way or something happens, and then you're like, oh, I'm not getting the views I want, so therefore I'm not going to keep continuing. But if you get back up and retry, keep trying. Don't take it as a no and keep going. You'll succeed. That's something that I've noticed now from, obviously when you start a business in any way, you're so interested to look at the people who have made it to be like, well, what secret sauce did they have?
What did they do?
And most of the time, it's the people that said, I had a setback, I figured it out, I pivoted, I kept going. And I think it's the length of time you can stay in the ring is important as well.
Yeah, and then you just, no matter what you start, or no matter what endeavor you start, even if you're just going to university for a 4-year degree, you expect setbacks.
Yeah.
It's just part of the process. You know what I mean? When you set off to drive to Montreal or New York City, you put into the GPS and it says you'll be there in 4 hours or something, right? But that's only if you go straight. But, as you're driving, maybe the tire deflates and then you have to stop and then pull over and fix the tire, right? And then somebody's hungry, somebody got a pee, so you got to pull over, and then it ends up taking 5 or 6 hours, right? Setbacks are inevitable. But when you put into the GPS, you're like, yo, you'll be there in no time. You'll be there for lunch.
Right.
Right? And that's not how life works. It's not like a GPS, all right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, well, I think that is coming up to the end. Is there anything, Sammy, for our listeners you'd want them to know, where to check you out, new projects that you're working on, or anything like that?
Yeah, you could follow me on all the socials. It's all My Summer Lair. I'm on, there's so many now, Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram. But I'm sarcastic on all of them. So,
Good. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah, that's what you guys pay for, right? Like, your money back guaranteed, right? Like, so yeah, My Summer Lair for all of them. You could pick one, or all of them. I should probably give somebody a prize if they follow me for all of them, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
If
collect
they
them all, like Pokemon or something.
If they follow you on all of them, we'll give them 3 free hours.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It's going down.
Yeah. And then message me and just let me know if you're, was it Team Jacob or Team, what's the other guy?
Team Edward.
All right. So yeah, if you follow
Team
me
Jacob,
after
Team
this
Edward.
episode, let me know. Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Let's go. Hashtag Team Jacob.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this podcast, the audio, the video, and everything else, Sleepless Studios is downtown Toronto, just off Queen Street at 215 Niagara. We provide 24-hour studios, recording, photography, DJ, co-working, band rehearsal, and so much more. Download the Sleepless app, make a booking, and let yourself in from there. And as always, stay sleepless.
Peace.